Wonder Woman is directed by Patty Jenkins and stars Gal Gadot as Diana Prince. This film chronicles the origin of Wonder Woman. We see her growing up on the island of Themyscira as Princess Diana, how she trains with her people. Then she meets a soldier named Steve Trevor who convinces her to go with him and fight in World War I. In her mind, this is what she was born to do, fight for the greater good and end mankind's war. And throughout the course of her time of fighting alongside Steve Trevor, she discovers her true powers, and now we have a Wonder Woman movie. First time this character has ever had her own movie, and that's really saying something when you think about how far we've come with these superhero movies. So walking into this movie, zero expectations. I have completely lost faith in DC after Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, two incredibly disappointing movies. And also I read a lot of reports about how the movie was kind of a train wreck during post-production. And after seeing Batman v Superman, I really didn't think Wonder Woman was going to be that interesting of a character. Really, in that movie, Gal Gadot is just a badass, and she's fun to watch during the action sequences. But as a character, she's kind of underdeveloped. Nevertheless, I wanted this movie to be good. I have wanted to love the characters in this universe for the longest time, and I've wanted DC to win my trust back, but after the last two films they made, they've just kind of lost me. I understand that last fall I said I was going to make that video called What's Wrong with the DC Cinematic Universe if this movie sucks, and I'm happy to report I'm not making that video. Wonder Woman is easily the best film in the DC Cinematic Universe thus far, and I had a ton of fun with this movie. First, let's talk about Gal Gadot. I wasn't really convinced that she was the right choice for the character after seeing Batman v Superman, and it kind of felt like they had just hired her because she's a model and she didn't really have the greatest acting career before. But I can tell you that in this movie, despite her being absolutely gorgeous, she actually is very good in this film. I could get behind her performance, and the movie makes her the strong, empowering female character that we all wanted to see. She's never bossed around or told what to do by anyone. She's presented as a leader with a strong emotional core. But she's also not presented as like the most perfect woman on the planet. When she and Steve Trevor get to London, after she's spent all her life on Themyscira with her family, she spends a lot of time asking questions and being confused by regular people's customs. And it made for some really entertaining moments, but it also brought her character down to earth a little bit. Overall, I thought she gave a pretty great performance. There are some times where I thought she was kind of whiny, but really that's the only complaint I have with her character. She was also a complete badass during the action scenes, which I can't stress enough are immaculately well directed. This is easily some of the best directed action we've seen in this cinematic universe. Unfortunately, there is a lot of slow fast-mo, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it kind of feels like a gimmick. And I don't know, I've seen it a lot in so many movies now, and it's just like studios keep using it over and over and over again. And to me, it's just kind of useless. It's like, if you're gonna make an action sequence, show me the action sequence. Don't stop it abruptly in the middle of it and then get back in again. Chris Pine is also really good in this movie. He plays Steve Trevor, who's a spy in World War I, and I found his performance to be really endearing. He has some really great chemistry with Gal Gadot, and he has some of the best moments in the film. He's never really been my favorite actor. In a lot of his other big roles, I've kind of thought he's pretty bland and just not that interesting, but in this movie he actually is really good. The story and the writing in this movie, I was actually pretty pleased with. It has a considerably different tone than the other DC films. It's pretty funny, and the narrative is focused and to the point. While you may say it's not that complex of a story and it's a lot similar to a bunch of other superhero movies we've already seen, I like that this movie doesn't devolve into a bunch of pointless subplots like Batman v Superman did. The narrative is focused and it knows where it's going. Also, from a technical standpoint, this movie is impeccable. The cinematography is great. It's very colorful. The lighting is awesome. The production design is also great in this movie. They go through a number of different kinds of environments, like the sets for Themyscira and then the sets for London, and all of them I found were really convincing, and they really gave the movie the realism that they needed. In terms of negatives I have with Wonder Woman, I'd say the first 20 to 30 minutes of it is like the worst part of the movie, because it's kind of a mess. All the stuff with watching like young Diana grow up and train with her family and become a warrior, it felt like they were just going through the tropes and cliches of superhero origin stories, and there wasn't really anything new. She sees a sword when she's a little kid, she wishes that one day she can wield it, then she grows up and trains to become a warrior, and it was very predictable. They were just going through the motions of telling a superhero origin story. I'd say the film really does pick up once they get to London, but it was just kind of a clunky opening with some tonally inconsistent moments. The cliches are really the worst thing about Wonder Woman because it falls back on a lot of them that we've already seen 1,000 times before in previous superhero movies, like the opening, the way the origin story was set up, the ending, the villain presence. There were times where it felt like the writers were just kind of doing the easiest thing they could get away with. And now that I've mentioned the villain presence, it's pretty weak in this movie. They go in a certain direction that I actually really liked, and I thought the movie kind of should have ended on that note, but then they do something different, and I felt like it was kind of stupid. And also the last battle sequence is pretty overblown. There's a lot of CGI, and it just kind of felt ridiculous. But as we've seen with Marvel dozens of times, you don't need a well fleshed out villain to have a good superhero movie. You need a strong hero presence. And Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is a very strong hero presence. While this movie does fall back on a lot of superhero cliches that we've seen 1,000 times before, it's a ton of fun, it has great performances, the battle sequences are amazing, it looks beautiful, and this might not sound like much since it's such a low bar, but this is the best DC Cinematic Universe film that we've had, and I'm going to give Wonder Woman an 8 out of 10. Now that I think about it, it's the first time I've walked out of a DC movie not being filled with rage, so I guess that's a good thing. But anyway, have you guys seen Wonder Woman? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.